Today we are going to be talking about reconsidering guilt. And I wanted to do this topic because I know that many supermoms struggle with guilt, and I would think that bringing some light on the subject and helping moms understand where that guilt is coming from, as well as some ways to deal with it, may be helpful. So, mom guilt, what is it, right? It's that uncomfortable feeling that stems from the shoulds, the supposed tos, and the other moms are, right? It's all of that. It's a feeling that comes from the thoughts that you're having, and all of those thoughts are clanking around in your head as you try to make it through the day. And a lot of times, guilt can inhibit us from moving forward. It can stop us dead in our tracks, and we get so caught up in that feeling that it's that inner mean girl, right? Making us feel like we are not enough. We can have lots of guilt around different things, and because I focus on moms, let's dig into how moms specifically, what thoughts are coming up that are creating the feeling of guilt. So you can have guilt around screen time, right? How much time your kids are spending online or spending on their devices. Um, the old, breastfeeding dilemma, like what's best for your kids, returning to work, working versus stay at home. That's like a huge debate in the mom community, right? Like you feel guilty for staying home, or you feel guilty for not contributing to your family's resources or financials, or you feel guilty for not being able to be with your kids all the time. So lots of things that can create that guilt. You also might feel guilty about the length of your fuse. So what I mean by that is like not being patient, or when you lose your temper, or when you lash out, like where you feel like it's that voice in the back of your mind being like, I'm ruining my kids, right? That can create a lot of guilt. And then also you can feel guilty about taking time for yourself, thinking like, these expectations that you might have, like I to be a good mom means I've got to spend 24/7 with my kids, and the fact that I'm even thinking about like wanting a break, you could feel guilty about that. Or about doing things like living your passion or pursuing passions outside of your mom hat can bring up a lot of feelings of guilt. And these feelings, the guilt feeling, can create feelings of inadequacy. Like if you're feeling like you're not good enough, if you're feeling like you're doing something wrong, or that you're not cut out for this whole motherhood thing, right? All of that, these underlying feelings of inadequacy can also bring about lots of guilt. It can lead to some pretty harsh consequences. I mean, mental health disorders are definitely tied to this feeling of inadequacy, this belief of inadequacy. Anxiety, depression, substance use, um, thoughts to even harm yourself or others. Like these are some really serious consequences that can come if you don't properly deal with the guilt. Now, guilt's not all bad, right? There is like in a small dose, it gives us like that internal warning, like maybe things should change. And so, for example, like if your kid is eating junk food all day, feeling guilty about it can inform your decision for change. Or things like if you're watching endless hours of television, or you're watching endless hours of television, right? Like there might be some of that guilt that would be like, okay, change needs to happen, but it's when it becomes incessant, or like it becomes like you're feeling a lot of guilt and it's stopping you in your tracks. That's where it becomes problematic and can lead to those unhelpful or harmful consequences. So the first thing is to identify your source of guilt. Like again, guilt is a feeling that you feel. And so looking at what are the thoughts and the beliefs that are fueling that guilt, that feeling, maybe looking at your definition of how you define a good mom, and seeing like, okay, this is how I define it. And I also know lots of other moms that I would categorize as, being good moms that aren't policing their children's device use, right? Like, or that feed their kids an occasional, treat or whatever. So, really reassessing, like, really identifying where those thoughts are coming from. And it may be coming from maybe some childhood, right? Traumatic or not, different experiences in childhood could lead you to have certain beliefs. And really taking a look at where those beliefs are coming from. If they're coming from childhood, they're coming from these expectations that you're holding, they're coming from the society at large. And seeing, are they being fed by like social media, by people that you're seeing on Facebook or on Instagram or in your social feed, and you've got, you're playing the compare game. That's important to identify, like, to recognize or acknowledge that maybe you're playing this compare game, and start limiting your time online, or comparing, or limiting your time engaged in the compare game. When you're seeing these images of the perfect mom, and with air quotes around it, right? You're only seeing a window or a glimpse of somebody's life, and knowing that, not comparing, knowing the dangers of comparing yourself to those other moms that you're seeing, it might mean that you need to take more control and limit your time spent around, these toxic images and the effect on them, how they are influencing your thoughts and your beliefs. It's important to recognize any of those irrational thought patterns that are existing, like the all or nothing, or the overgeneralizing, or the shoulds. Right? As I said in the beginning, those shoulds are contributing to you feeling guilt. And so taking time to recognize what you are saying to yourself, what are those shoulds, and then digging deeper and looking for the truths that are hiding underneath the should. Strengthen your support system. We already talked about stopping the compare game and removing yourself from toxic situations, but removing toxic people. Spend time with people that are supportive. That nobody can make you feel guilty. It is your thoughts about the situation, or about yourself, or about like others. But making sure that you are surrounding yourself with people that are supportive of your ideals, supportive of your actions, will help you self-correct if you do get off course. And finally, recognizing that it's normal. Like, lots of moms experience guilt. But when you start turning in and seeing what is the source of that guilt, what are the thoughts and beliefs that are contributing to that feeling, only then will you be able to work through it and start shifting. Because, there's a lot of things that you can't control, but you do have control over your thoughts. So you want to make sure that your thoughts are serving you, that your beliefs are serving you. You start moving towards those beliefs that will serve you better. Through it all, it's super important to be practicing self-compassion, treating yourself with kindness, knowing that, yes, it's normal and it's a feeling. We were given a whole realm of feelings to feel, and letting yourself know that, giving yourself that reminder that I'm doing the best that I can with what I know. That's a great affirmation if you're new to affirmations to start with. I'm doing the best that I can with what I know. That's a huge statement of compassion, of self-compassion. So if you struggle with an over-excessive amount of guilt, and you need help identifying those feelings or those thoughts and those beliefs that are contributing, these expectations, if you need help putting up some boundaries around those toxic people, and identifying and building a support network, that's what my program is about. So definitely sign up for a call. I will go ahead and throw the link in the show notes of today's episode and under this video. But that's exactly what my big Supermom program is all about, right? Is helping you acknowledge and work through those uncomfortable feelings. I help you navigate those uncomfortable feelings that come up with being a mother. And I help you become your best version in and out of your mom hat. So sign up. It's momswithoutcapes.com/love yourself. And let's jump on a call and see what's keeping you on the back burner? What's blocking your way? And let's get clear on that. And then I can share with you a roadmap about how I can help you get off of the back burner and start living your best life. So thanks for joining me today. Let's reconsider guilt and get you stepping into your best self.